Greetings, YouTube! Danny Staten here on the Danny Dan blog. I'm back with another comic book review. Let me apologize for being late. It's been a heck of a week. New Year's rolling around, all the live streams, all the partying, everything going on. Things haven't been getting done. So it took me a while to get around to checking out Rip Van Winkle. I was going to call this video Rip Van Woo. But that was before I took the comic book out. That was before I read through the story. That was before I realized it's Rip Van Dan. Because it's the story of Rip Van Dan encountering the Dr. Woos of his time. Yep, Rip Van Dan's gonna get all messed up when he encounters Robert T. Woo. And I got such a surprise. If I'd known this comic book was the way it would have been done sometime back in October. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to keep it nice and sweet and do classic stuff and good stuff. You know, nice stuff for the holiday season, you know. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all the way up to Valentine's Day before you get any more horror movies or horror comics or whatever here. So I hope you can deal with that. Well, let me get started because this may run a minute. It's one of them classic illustrators, not many commercials and big thick books. And we're looking at a classic, Rip Van Winkle, number 12. From 1944, you know, this comic book's in pretty good condition. It might get a 5.1 or a 5.4 or something like that. And to be from 1944, I'm amazed at the incredibly good condition of this comic book. I don't guess too many people read the classics. That's why it's in such good condition. So let's get started with Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. What Dave Sunstorm definitely would call the good stuff. Can't believe I picked this bad boy up for $3.50. $3.50. Inside the front cover, we get a commercial for all these classic illustrated comic books and a hardback edition you could have had for $1 each. Heck, if I had $1 and I lived in 1944, I would order that. Of course, $1 in 1944 is probably $15 in today's money, right? $15 or something. In some of the best art you're ever going to find in a comic book, we find young Van Winkle. No, Van Winkle. Van Winkle. Young Van Winkle leaning against a signpost somewhere near the Twilight Zone. You can read that if you wanted to. I'll hold it there long enough for you to maybe read through it. You might have to pause it if you're really slow, like Michael Harper or something. Look, he's got a cool dog with him. You know that's one cool dude, right? That's right. Young Rip is a slack-off. Young Rip leans against poles and sleeps. His wife constantly hounds him because he don't get nothing done. He'd rather spend his time playing with the kids than working. He just wants to get the work done. And what does he want to get the work done? He wants to get done so he can get to the merrymaking. That's right. He wants to get to the merrymaking. He wants to get to the party. And you know what he's thinking? He's thinking, it seems weeds grow faster round here behind the potato patch. He's in upstate New York and he's growing some cool weeds. He can't do his job. He can't keep the cows out of the lettuce. His wife gives him heck. His kids romp and rave and constantly drive him crazy. All he wants to do is escape her constant nagging. Even his kids take pity on him as he has to endure his wife's constant, her constant nagging, beating, her constant irritating. She's nagging him. She's threatening him with a spoon. You see, I told you his name was Rip Van Dan. He can't even get no sleep. I'm surprised that bitch ain't up pounding on the wall with a hammer. Is her goddamn name Denise? Is that Denise? Oh, God, I had a flashback. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, Van Winkle's wife gives him constant torment. Van Winkle's wife is always up his, he cannot take it. He goes for long walks and sleeps against trees because he gets no rest at home. Rip finds solace wandering off to town, where Rip spends time sleeping against the wall and hanging out with the other old elderly gentlemen of his time. Rip fits right in with the 80-year-old crowd, enjoying time, on the pipe. Oh, yeah. Back in the day, they smoked a mean pipe in the north. They sure did. But it don't last long. The evil wife has tracked him down, grabbing him by the ear in a sorrowful display in front of all the other guys. Rip gets drugged by the ear. Oh my God. So after a horrible scolding by his wife, Roseanne Barr's great-grandmother, Rip goes off into the woods with his faithful dog to do some hunting. That's right. They're on a hunting spree. They're on a hunting trip. But you know Rip. Rip decides to take a break. Rip decides to check out the local foliage. Rip has a puff on his pipe. And then Rip finds some really special mushrooms that he endures and chews upon and enjoys greatly, because we all know that mushrooms in the mountains makes for a wonderful daily dinner, because you can sustain yourself on some wonderful mushrooms if you're a young lad with a cool dog. That's right. You can't go wrong when you're a young man with a cool dog and a bag of mushrooms and a bag of weed. You're just having a party, right? And that's when everything goes astray. That's right. From out of the woods emerges. This is in New York, mind you, not Ireland. But emerges the incredible Mini Woo. That's right. It's a Dr. Wu version. It's a mini-me Dr. Wu, toting a keg of beer on his shoulder. That's how you know he's a Dr. Wu. You look at the face, the beard, the outfit. Dr. Wu, the outfit. And he's also got a keg of beer, so we know for sure this is Dr. Wu 1867. Dun, 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 dun. Rip Van Dam, being the kind of man he is, offers to shoulder the burden from Mini Woo. He said, Mini Woo, let me tote that keg for you. Rip Van Dam thinking he's going to get a drink. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Rip Van Dam be toting the keg for miles and miles and miles. And so far that the old Mini Woo, took it back for a little ways, and he had to tote it for a while till he got tired. And then Rip Van Dam grabbed it again. And then he towed it for a while, finally having to give it back to the old man before they arrived at the meeting spot. That's right. It's a gathering of juggalos. No, it's a gathering of the Woo clan. You see Grandmaster Woo over here a-twigging and a-twagging on his beard. That's a great-great-grandpa Woo. And then you have Woo from Australia hanging out down here with his goddamn kangaroo thing. And you got Lady Woo, and then you got Woo Christ, and then you got Woo Pilgrim, and Woo Spanish guy, and Eric before he shaved. Dun, 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 dun. And then you got Arabian Dr. Wu, and then you got Mini Dr. Wu, and then you got Rip Van Dam showing up to hang out with all the Woos. Rip Van Dam knew he was in trouble when he was hanging up with the Wu clan. The Wu Tang clan? No, that's the Wu clan. It's the clan of Wu. That's right. They're drinking, they're partying, they're smoking, they're eating funny shrooms, they're drinking, they're partying, they're smoking. Dan's hanging out with the Woo. He parties all night till he passes out with a smile on his face. Hey everybody, start the new year off right by ordering True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. I got Book 2 for my birthday. I've been reading it ever since. It was like an early Christmas present. Be sure to check out Bigfoot Michigan Rob's True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. That's right, I thought I'd go ahead and get some shout-outs out the way real quick. Stick with me, guys. It only takes 64 seconds. As I shout out Dave Sunstorm and his incredible brother, Steven Sunstorm. You know the good stuff, guys, here on YouTube. My partner in crime, Thrash Pondo Pawns. Be sure to join us on Sunday afternoons on his channel, where we discuss topics and stuff And it's going to be interesting no matter what we're talking about. If you don't believe that, check out some of the replays. Be sure to check out Pat McCormick at the Golden Rage of TV. I hear he's got some really good stuff coming up, too, in the near future. Let me give other quick shout-outs to all the other good stuff, guys. BK on the Air, Big Guys 45s, Corey's Comedy Channel. Hey, I got to talk to Corey in person on a live stream over at BBB Brain Benders Banners recently, and it was very interesting stuff to be on the panel with Corey. God, he is a cool dude. Be sure to check out Corey's Comedy Channel. Hey, check out My Block Is Everywhere. I think I saw him over there, too. The Nostalgic Pop Blast. Oh, my God, everybody needs to check out channels. One of my favorite channels. Retro Nerd Girl Brain Benders Banner, BBB. You know, BBB, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your wonderful family. AAP Homestead. Paper Life. I always love these guys. They helped me get started in the YouTube world. The Unapologetic Geek. Thanks for having me on your show, dude. It's one of the high points of my life to actually hang out with the Unapologetic Geek. And Harold, I had a special shout out to you as well as Eric over at Gypsy Road. And let me give a special shout out to Robert T. Wood, Dr. Woo, featured in this comic book. I am giving him the Woo treatment. The Woo treatment for what he said on his live stream. Yep, make me wait, man. That's right, I almost fell asleep like Rip Van Winkle waiting for that live stream to start because he knew I was in chat waiting for it to start. He drugged me. And he drugged me. He drugged me till my hair turned gray and my beard grew. And I started looking like Rip Van Winkle. So Info Panels brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog. We know how the story goes. Rip Van Winkle, wake up. 70, 80 years later, Rip Van Winkle now has become a Woo. He's become a Rip Van Woo. I had to shave that little part right there that's over the mustache, over the mouth right there. I had to trim that way down because it was getting food particles in it. I can't stand that. I don't like a beard. I don't like being Rip Van Woo. I don't like my back are hurting. I don't like being an old Rip Van Woo looking mother. Beep. No, I do not. Yep. Look, I was in the store a couple of weeks ago, and some little kid come up to me and started telling me what she wants for Christmas because I'm starting to look like this. I'm going to look like this by this time next year if I don't shave and get a haircut. It's true. It's true. I'm going to be Santa Claus. Like Tim Allen in that stupid movie. Rip Van Winkle wanders back into town. People look at him like, who in the hell's that old man toting that gun around? That's right. Rip Van Woo's walking around toting his gun around. That's a good idea. He goes back to the place where his family was last at all them years ago, and now it's a dilapidated old ruin. You know, if you turn this story around a little bit, and instead of leprechauns and little fairy folk in the woods and a keg of beer, you turn this into little gray guys doing experiments on you. Maybe Washington Irving heard this story and in his time he put it in these woods. And then he wrote it down on paper. But this sounds more like an alien abduction thing to me. What do you know? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. As Rip Van Woo comes into town, some young politician spouting off his gurgly gop about the spirit of 76, about America being a free country. Rip walks up and says, I don't know what's going on here, you rebels, but God save the Queen. And they get ready to hang him and string him because the war is over. England's gone. It's being kicked out. And it's like, whoa, I don't want no trouble here. I just want to know what's going on. And he asks, does anybody here know Rip Van Winkle? And I say, yeah, that's old Rip Van Winkle sleeping against that tree over there, sucking on that pipe being the town weed head. Yep. He said, well, that's not me, but it is me. What? It's a sad day when Rip Van Winkle meets Rip Van Winkle III right there. He's named after his grandpappy. Grandpappy? You mean you Rip Van Winkle III? Well, I'm Rip Van Winkle the Senior. And he's like, no, you can't be. And they're all confusing him and laughing at him and calling him a joke. But Rip Van Winkle IV shows up going, wah! And she's like, well, we have to see what's up. But Rip Van Winkle's like, So this is Rip Van Winkle's daughter. This is how I tell the story accurately. And Rip Van Winkle's daughter now is all grown up. Rip Van Winkle, the fourth over there, was his oldest son who did not believe it was daddy. But the daughter remembers, and the daughter says, it does look like you. And he grabs her and he says, yes, it's me. I am your daddy. I've been gone for years and years, and an actual book is 20 years, I believe. I want to be accurate because somebody's going to say, you didn't tell the story right, Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch watching this. He's like, he ain't telling the story right again. And I mean, let me email him. I try to get it right. I really do. A lot of times I go off on a tangent and I don't tell things exactly right. And I do that more for a comedy aspect. And I'm trying to make people laugh. So if I'm missing something or I tell something a little inaccurately, I'm usually doing it on purpose. You don't have to call me on like the difference. Like when I say he was asleep for 70 years and grew a beard. No, he was asleep for 20 years. I read the story. And that wasn't his great grandkids. That was his son and daughter. You know, I keep up with all that just so people know. Just so you know. Oh my God. I'm getting all. Anyway, Roy shows up. Old 150-year-old Roy shows up and says, I knew Rip Van Winkle when he was a child. And oh my God, that's Rip. So once he gets identified, Rip gets to go home, hang out, sleep against the wall, and hang out with his grandkids. All happy to find out that his wife had passed away. Yay! As young Rip Van Winkle's wife said, you know, you're a lazy loafer. Dun, 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 dun. The end. And it was at this point I got the biggest surprise ever. I was like, the end? That went short. There's still half a book left, which I will fly through pretty quick because it wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't part of the woo experience. But when I turned the page, I got to blame old Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Oh my God. Now let me point out that I like the movie with Johnny Depp. That's my favorite telling of the stories, and they changed the character and made the schoolmaster the detective. And the only other version I like is the one with Jeff Goldblum. And that's about what we got in this book, is the one with Jeff Goldblum right here. Yep, a lonely old church on a hill, a group of kids on Halloween, getting a tale of fear, the tale of the Headless Horseman. I wonder if that's supposed to be Washington Irving, that old dude telling them kids that tale. He get a tale of a mean old schoolmaster named Ichabod Crane, who whops kids across the ass with his little stick, because Ichabod's a little on the weird side. Ichabod's a strict schoolmaster. He's trying to teach these kids how to be adults. He's strict. And he goes over to his girl's house and has dinner and eats for free, because I'm not going to say that. Have I told you how much I like the art in this comic book? These classic illustrators are some of the best drawn comic books I have. And I have quite a lot of them. See me review other classic illustrated. Hey, I found the first piece of damage in this comic book, a little tear right here. That's about the only thing I've seen so far. Ichabod Crane, he leads the town choir. He's the social bunny of the town. He goes from girl to girl to girl, courting and sparking, sitting in the tree reading his books. But he's such a little wuss. An owl hoots at him and he runs away. Well, I know why they put this boring story in the back. I'm glad I didn't do it for Halloween now. No, I'm glad I didn't know about it till I opened the book today. That's right. Ichabod's even trying to spark the grannies. He goes and visits all the women. Ichabod's trying to be a stud. Ichabod's really going after the princess of the town. You know, Brom Bones' ex-girlfriend. What's her name? Katrina Van Tassel. I had to look that up. Katrina Van Tassel. Look at that. She's going over having holiday dinner over at the Van Tassel house. They're having some goose. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry. Dun, 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 dun. And they're having some pigeon pie. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry, Sarah. The birds bought the farm, Sarah. Sarah's all upset now because birds have bought the farm. Hey, it happened to the pigs too. See. Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, hey, Katrina Van Tassel ain't a witch in this one, right? But she's sparking it back with old Ichabod. That's right. Katrina and Ichabod sparking up around town. Everybody sees they're hanging out. People are talking about, hey, I think they're going to get married. The schoolmaster's having fantasies. He's tripping. We switched to a scene of Brom Bones standing on top of the schoolhouse with his friends, laughing and joking as Ichabod and the kids run from the school in terror. as they find everything, all the benches and all the desks nailed to the roof. Ah, ha, 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 a joke. Only one knows he done it is this cool dog right here, and cool dog ain't talking. Cool dog says, I'll tell you on my channel. And Brom Bones is like, hey, Brom Bones' dog was outside, but that's okay. Hey, Ichabod gets his horse, old Gunpowder, gonna go over and visit the sisters. That's right, Ichabod head over to the sisters, the Van Tassel sisters, Katrina and Kadena, at their holiday feast. He's having it up, he's dancing it up, they're playing the violin, and Brom Bones is watching. So Info Panels brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog. I give you the party, that's right, the party where all the cool people showed up, including the Woos, Dr. Woo himself, Robert T. Wood, Grandpa Woo, and Female Woo. They're all hanging around watching the Van Tassels swing and dance, you know, 'cause Rip Van Winkle and the Woo crowd and Dr. Woo and all that happened. Same place. And with a snap and a bump, the party's over. Ichabod hangs out to talk to Katrina, who's had about enough of his goddamn chicken legs looking stuff. She tells him, we'll talk tomorrow, Ichabod. Just pop a clutch. Ichabod runs out, jumps on Gunpowder, proceeds on down the road, heading back towards his little humble abode, when he hears a groaning noise in the woods. A groaning noise that gets closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer till he sees the Headless Horseman. And just like that, the Headless Horseman appears, chases him down the road. A long, drooling chase as suddenly he's hit on top of the head. He freaks out. And Info Panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog. If Bugpie Crane disappears, his horse tracks fine leading out of town. He got scared off by Brom Bones, who went on to marry Katrina. Story over. Yeah, this has run way too long. You get a biography of Washington Irving. You get some commercials. You could have been off on a comment and that in the back. And that's my look at Rip Van Winkle. Classic Illustrators, number 12 from 1944. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And until next time, blog over!